Leadership and Yoga fam. Today I have a really fun interview for you with DJ Taz Rashid. He is a music producer creating music with a deeper mission to awaken, to uplift, and to empower humanity through music. And his work largely lives in yoga and breathwork, dance, and wellness spaces around the world. And you've probably either heard some of his tracks during a yoga class, or you might have added them to a playlist of your own if you're like me. So in this episode, we are going to talk about the power of music and how carefully curated playlist can actually completely shift the energy of a yoga class, your yoga class, perhaps if you are a fellow yoga teacher. So the idea of this interview is that you will leave feeling inspired to redefine your own creative process, no matter what you create. And I've got two exciting things to share with you, and I also have a new mini segment before we get into the interview with DJ Taz. It helps me a ton if you listen to this portion of the episode, so if you are, thank you so much. I'd also love if you take a moment to just pause and give me a rating for my show. Wherever you're listening to the podcast is totally fine. And also to make sure you are subscribed and perhaps to share this episode on social media if you can, or with another friend as well. So the first two exciting things that I have to share with you before we get to the mini segment are for yoga teachers specifically. So if you are a fellow yoga teacher, you may have heard of YogaTrade, which was started in 2012 as a way to connect yoga teachers with ways to teach and travel around the world while teaching and gaining experience in exchange for getting to live abroad. I've had many guests on the podcast tell me that they've gotten a job teaching yoga abroad thanks to YogaTrade, and that it redefined how they think about teaching yoga and opened up so many opportunities for them. So maybe you've been thinking about doing something like that, teaching abroad, and even if you're not quite at that step, but you want to be surrounded by a community of teachers all over the world, YogaTrade also has an online community called Council, which I am a part of and I actually lead sessions inside of. Last week, inside of YogaTrade's Council, I led a workshop on finding your voice for yoga teachers, which you can catch the replay of if you go and sign up for Council. There's a free trial for Leadership and Yoga listeners in the show notes, and there are so many more events coming up, some of which I will be leading, and in general, this is an awesome opportunity to connect with yoga teachers all over the world and to expand your yoga circle. The second thing I have for you, if you're a yoga teacher, is an all-in-one platform for everything that you need to run your yoga business. Now, teaching yoga as a solopreneur means doing it all yourself, sequencing your classes, managing your bookings, building your website, and OfferingTree helps lighten the load, especially with their optional virtual website assistant, Sprout. This is new, it's super exciting, and you can create a professional online presence using proven conversion flows and SEO optimized copy without the tech stress or even needing to know how to do it yourself. It really has you looking professional, y'all. It ensures that your brand fonts and colors are consistent across every page while keeping your mobile booking simple for your students. The thing that I love the most about OfferingTree is that they do not make you choose between being professional and being profitable. Whether you are just getting started and thinking about setting up systems like your website and how to do all of those things like email marketing that you feel like you should maybe be doing but you're not doing yet, or you've got it all set up but it's run through so many different systems, switching to OfferingTree gets you more time teaching and less time troubleshooting. You can start your free trial at offeringtree.com/Shauna Crew. Link for that is in the show notes, of course. Now, time for our new segment, Mini Lessons from Art. And Art is a longtime listener of the podcast turned friend who is now also a mentor to me, helping me learn about Ayurveda and how it can help me. She is a creator of Tend, which is her own line of Ayurveda-inspired products, but it's also guidance for life lived in rhythm. And so we all have our own speed bumps with our bodies. You know, when I go to show up to teach and to podcast and create, I immediately notice if I'm feeling like my brain is busy, my head is overheated. And it's been so refreshing to be able to speak to Art about these things and to hear the wisdom of Ayurveda, which is time-tested tradition, not shiny, quick fixes or trends. And so each week on the podcast, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a taste of the little lessons that she's given me. And something that she gave me last week was a Sanskrit prayer or mantra to say before eating my food to help me slow down. And it stuck with me. It's such a beautiful mantra, and it's quick, and it is top of mind for me. So each and every time that I sit down to eat, I'm always remembering this mantra and playing it through in my mind, or perhaps singing it at home if I'm at the kitchen table alone or with my family. But it reminds me to eat in the way that I want to, with complete presence. And so if you too want to learn something like that, or to get your own personalized guidance from art, because we are all so different, you can check with her directly by booking a consultation with her. Link is in the show notes, and there is a special offer available for Leadership and Yoga podcast listeners. Now, sit back, relax, but also lean in. Today, on the Leadership and Yoga podcast, DJ Taz. I like to start my in-person interviews with a nice deep breath. So if you're listening, you can take that breath with us and just arrive. DJ Taz, welcome to the Leadership and Yoga podcast.
Yeah.
It's so fun to be sitting here with you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're listening and you don't know who Taz is already, he is a music producer and he's a DJ in the wellness world. And I have to tell you, Taz, that you have certain songs that bring me a memory so strong. It's like when you have a scent memory, you know how you smell something and it takes you immediately to where you were in life at that time.
Yeah.
I have that with a couple of your songs, like Gold Flow, for example. Yeah. I remember putting them on my very first playlist ever when I started teaching yoga. And I mean, that was only like 5 years ago, but it was a whole nother world away at this point, and it's so special. So it feels like very much a full circle moment to be here with you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think, music works like that. It just captivate memory, unlock something from, nostalgia, like, oh, that reminds me of 1986. I was at this diner, in this situation. So music has that power, just like scent.
Yeah, and your music, I mean, it's been streamed by millions of people, and we'll talk all about why music does that for us, and I'm really excited to actually get into the discussion of music alongside of the yoga. And on the Leadership and Yoga podcast, we do talk a lot about yoga, and a lot of the fellow listeners out there, you are yoga teachers, and so you know how much music can make or break a class. It can be like the most distracting thing when you teach, or it can be like the most transformative element that you add, just like the cherry on top. But I wanted to start by asking you, why do you feel that so many people resonate and connect so deeply with your music?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was, I think just a few weeks ago, I was kind of like thinking about something along the lines of that. One of the things to answer that I would say is that, I'm not creating this music to impress anybody. Mm-hmm. And it's really not like, it's very different from a lot of the pop music you hear out there, Mm-hmm. So the intention is not something out of ego or like something to like spotlight, like this is like it's really to support the wellness practice. So it like uplifts and can help transform the class and just like really be almost like a second teacher in a way of a yoga practice or breath work or meditation. So I think a lot of people feel the intention behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm creating this music with that intention to help people awaken. And that took form in the yoga space, the meditation space, the breath work space, also dance and movement. So people feel that energy, I think. And I know because they tell me that is like a lining that's like weaving in. So it's an energetic thing that people are resonating with. And then it just helps, uplift the experience overall.
So I have so many questions. I
Yeah.
mean,
I love it.
when you first started making music,
Yeah.
was it with that intention or was that something that came later? What
So
really got you started
y-
creating music?
yeah, so I've been playing music since like fifth grade.
Okay.
I started with piano and then that went into guitar and but I was like, different classical music. So there's a lot of background of different styles and genres of music from like
Mm-hmm.
deep classical, Bach, Mozart, Schubert, that kind of stuff into punk rock and classical and this and that. So it all like helped shape and a lot of world music too in the 90s with my parents played a lot of stuff and so like that all kind of helped culminate and I think when I started actually making music like say on a laptop or computer or desktop like to produce it was actually my friend who created this like a chakra sorbet. This is a kind of funny situation actually. He created like this, like a sorbet, like ice cream,
Yeah.
and there's 7 flavors of
Okay.
one for each of the chakras. And he said, "Hey, I need some music for this project." Like, and I was just this is like 2013, I believe, and I was just DJing at the time. I wasn't producing music yet. I played music, but I wasn't producing. He's like, "Can you make me some meditation music?"
Yeah.
And so he just like asked me
Mm-hmm.
to create something. His name was Eric Stein. This is back in Chicago, and I was just like, you know what? I'll just do it. Like, let's just try it because I knew how to write music. I didn't know about the production side, so like. I have to say, like it started with that intentionality when I look back
Yeah.
with creating a meditation album, 7 songs. What did that look like? I just figured it out. I met with people. I met with another friend who was kind of a producer, and we put this together. It's out on Spotify. It's not crazy amazing, but it is
That's
unique.
the start.
It
Yeah.
was a starting point. So, your first song or first production doesn't have to be absolutely epic. You have to just go through the motions of what it takes. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was like a yes to the energy of like, let's do something with intention for this project. And then that just kind of started like a whole process there.
Mm-hmm. But in that moment, it was not necessarily your intention to go into this, I'm imagining.
No, in that sense, I was just creating an album just to
Yeah.
create some new music because I was DJing a lot at different wellness events, and people would always be like, "Hey, I think you're a musician, right?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, like you should make your own music." I
Mm.
was like, "Yeah, I'll get to it." So it wasn't
How
as
many years
important.
was it that you said, I'll get to it, just out of curiosity?
Probably like 2 or 3,
Okay.
but a lot of that I'll get to it was from the fact that I didn't have that education
Yeah.
around music production, and that's
Mm-hmm.
a huge part of the conversation. Is like you could be the most amazing musician, but unless you have a music producer you're hiring and paying for every
Mm-hmm.
track, or you have that knowledge to do it yourself, you're not going to ship it. Meaning you're not going to get it done and create it.
Yeah.
Start from 0 to 100, and that was a journey from I think 2013 to like 2018 because I taught myself all
Yeah.
these things and then it literally led to a musician named Rara Avis. He was part of Desert Dwellers originally, and
Yeah.
he was also the founder of Yogi Tunes, which is like a yoga music platform. And him and I were talking, and I was actually doing a one-on-one lesson with him, and he said this thing. He's like, "You need to take some lessons. You need to go to a school or something." He told me. He's like, There's this things you don't know. You know that thing. What you don't know, you don't know."
That's the
So
hardest.
in something so technical like
Yeah.
music production, if you don't know certain things, you'll never know until like someone points it out. So you have to go learn the basics when you're doing something very technical, and then you can get creative. So got to learn all the things around production, equalization, different compression and this until you know that like you're just kind of like trying stuff out.
Yeah.
So I did that. I like right away I signed up for a whole 1 year program and my whole game changed. Like I just like now I know how to do whatever I need to do like
Mm-hmm.
quickly. But education is one of the biggest things, and this goes across in any kind of industry or whatever people are trying to specialize in. You have to go through the training, meet with teachers that are like 10 steps ahead of you that know about it and ask them questions. So one of the things about that school, I think I got like 40 or 50 one-on-one hours, like hours
Wow.
with their different teachers. So
Yeah.
I was already producing, but I got these one-on-one hours where I could review my work with them. They could tell me, try this, that's not right, do that. That is transformation.
Did you have a moment where you made a particular track that you felt like this is it? This is really good, and I feel like people are going to love this.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's been so many of those, but a lot of them, I will have to say, a lot of my bigger tracks that people just love,
Hmm.
they were done rather quickly. So
Interesting.
yeah, so like that track Goal Flow you just mentioned,
Uh-huh.
or one of my tracks, Inspiration Drive,
Inspiration Drive.
people
Yeah.
really love that, and uh, those were not created like, oh, it took me 5 months to make that, or like they were created in like a couple days, or like really like a couple sessions where I sat down and I was just focused, like straight in like alpha brain waves, just like, just really focused, no distractions. And like 2, 3 hours later, it's like, hey, it's a 90%, 80% there. But the main energy of it, like the main message was just there. And like, it's like, I was like, wow, this is something cool. And then you refine it. You're like, you just clean it up. But like, I would definitely say like that Inspiration Drive track, I tried a few new things. Sometimes when you try something new, you're like, wow, like that really works. So, yes, that happens like all the time. But sometimes when you think, oh, this is going to be game changer,
It's not.
it's not, like,
Yeah.
or so that's, you
Why do
don't
you
know what the people are going to receive sometimes.
Exactly. I mean, in this, I love Rick Rubin's work and talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
this, where it's like the audience doesn't really even know what they want. They only know what's come before.
Yeah.
I think it's really fascinating why it is that so many humans have a shared experience of loving a particular song. It's like,
Hmm.
what about that? Because we know pretty quickly, right? When we
Yeah.
hear something new, where you add it and you're immediately onto the playlist or you listen to it over and over again. But what do you think it is about music that we have that we have that love for it in some cases, and at other times a sort of repulsion immediately?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question. I would say from looking back, there's a couple things. One of the things we actually touched on, music is energy, right? It's a
Hmm.
frequency. There's a vibration that's going through. The intentionality of the artist is also kind of weaving in there. But for the listener, and this I speak for myself as a listener when I listen, it's kind of like unlocking something. Like, and
Hmm.
that can happen in a split of a second, but it's literally going in and like it's like a lock, some things like heartstrings or whatever it's pulling on. Emotion is a big part. So from a yoga teacher or a wellness practitioner standpoint, sometimes they hear it and they could feel like, oh, this is perfect for my yoga flow, warrior sequence. Like they can see the music being used in their class and they're like, that's going to be perfect for a flow sequence, right?
Hmm.
Or like a shavasana track. It's just like a no-brainer. But beyond that, it's the feeling that may be invoked. Sometimes like they may not even realize, but it's unlocking some sort of a memory of a past nostalgia of like something that they're not even aware of. It's like maybe in their subconscious, but they're
Hmm.
like, I really love this. I don't know why. It reminds me of something, right?
Yep.
And that could even be like ancestral or like some sort of, because a lot of the music that I sometimes create or like you hear, it sounds like something from another world or like a
Yeah,
something
it
that's
sounds
from like
magical.
something magical or just like
Hmm.
even from 1,000 years ago in like a temple in India or something like that, or like in the Middle East or somewhere, Europe, wherever. But it has something indigenous sometimes that's like weaved in where it can like, I know this from somewhere or like this.
Hmm.
So some sort of familiarity that sometimes comes in and sometimes it just has a great beat and you're just
Yeah.
like, I really love this beat. I think my students are going to love it as well. So the emotion is a big part. And then sometimes when you don't like it, it's just, it could be dense energy or, and that's very perspective, like if you look at modern music now, there's a lot of stuff that people listen to, that a lot of people in the wellness world are just hearing and be like, what the heck is this? Like
Yeah.
energetically, it feels very dense. It's like very busy. The messaging is, and that's creating a different energy that you don't necessarily like.
Yep.
And you're like, that's repelling me. Whereas someone else might be like, I like that. It's the lower chakra stuff,
It's
it's
a
like,
mood.
it's the
Yeah.
mood is like survival, sexuality, and like not the cleanest way or like power. A lot of
Hmm.
pop music is all in the lower third, the root chakra,
Yes.
the sacral and the power, but it's like keeping people in that state rather than elevating to like um, upper portals of just the activation. So it keeps you in that lower vibration. Not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but that's a vibration.
It's good to know that that's what's
Yes,
happening.
that's absolutely what's happening in a lot of pop music. Not all, but a lot of it. If you listen to it, it keeps people in that busy, fearful, stressed out state of mind. It's the beta phase, beta state of your
Yeah.
brainwave, rather than going up into like alpha, theta, which is not always in pop music, you know.
Yeah, I would ask you, do you feel like why pop music is so popular
Hmm.
because it is meeting people where they're at, where most of us are existing in modern
Yeah.
society? Is that what it is? It's just speaking to that level of energy?
Well, pop music, you know, I'm not an expert at
Yeah.
it, but what I would say from looking at the grand spectrum, like what I just my if you know quick impression, like it's definitely the big labels. They they have their agendas on what to do to like keep people listening to their
Mm-hmm.
music, right? That's their main thing. So obviously they're created with equations of certain repetition, certain types of beats that's popular, obviously artists. And it's just like, I grew up in the 90s, listened to a lot of radio. Like you listen to something or you hear it, you're not even listening because you just hear it. It's on the radio 8, 9, 10 times. You're whistling the melody. It's like a mantra.
Subconscious,
It's
nearly.
like it's the affirmation in that moment, whether it's positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like singing along because that's the masses that's being broadcasted. It's like broadcast. It's a broad, like it's casting
Yeah.
a spell in a way. I mean, it's so powerful. All this stuff is, I don't want to say it's witchcraft, but it's like, it is like different kinds of magic that's happening on a broad spectrum. Same thing with like television. There's a vision, and it's like this is all the programming of the masses. It's done through these are powerful like portals, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the radio and TV. These are portals of how we can be completely consumed by that message and not even realize.
So it sounds like your mission with your music is obviously to take us up out of that. And I really appreciate it, but step by step, and it also feels still approachable, and like it speaks to all of us no matter what level we're at, because it does have that beat, and it has that
Yeah.
feeling behind it. But I would ask you, yeah, like just what is your mission really
Yeah.
with your music?
Well, I'll get to my mission, but what I will say is that like I'm never trying to convert anybody because I come from the corporate world. I was in the I my vision, not even vision, my I don't even know what my dream was till a lot later in life because I
Mhm.
just believed that I had to go to school, go to university, get a job in the corporate field, make a lot of money, and that would make me happy.
Yeah.
But no one, like, I didn't have wellness or like ideas of deep purpose. I didn't have these kinds of understandings till a lot later when I found meditation and things like that.
So you
So
found meditation once you were working in the corporate
Yeah,
world.
yeah, and
Okay.
absolutely. And my mission was just to go and get a job, and that
Yeah.
was that was the mission after college, and I didn't even know what it was going to be. And so I was just kind of running around. But later, when I actually uncovered that, like, that wasn't bringing me any happiness, like I had to like really look at what is this life that we're actually living. And most people in the wellness world are asking that question, like, or they've asked that question to the point where it has led them to the wellness walk, their journey unfolding. So for me, it's never to convert anyone because I believe everybody is on their own journey to find the different tricks of the trade of wellness and self-discovery. But sometimes people are not even seeing it. They don't even know what journey they're on, right? So I have to say that I was lucky enough to find certain books or certain practices where my subconscious was like reprogrammed in a sense, where I
Hmm.
started seeing that, hey, there's other opportunities in life that I can go down, other streets I can go down. I don't have to stay in this kind of cycle that I'm finding to be unfulfilling, and I just wasn't happy. So now, getting towards my mission from that, I had a clear, distinctive idea what my mission would be even before I was DJing or me producing any music. Because when I left the corporate world in 2011, I literally wrote down that my vision and mission is to awaken and empower humanity with music. And I wrote that down with my coach at that time. I came back from India. I was like, it was a 30-day India program, and I had just gotten let go of a corporate job that I was in, and I was going to go into the home healthcare agency world, like, and it was going to be a great position. I was going to have shares of this company and all, but I came back from India. I was like, "There's no way, buddy.
Can't do
There's,
that.
there's you know when your body tells you like a full
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
like my heart would have like ripped out, you know, because it's that feeling you get, like there's no way you can get in that car. Don't get in the car, you know, like don't
Mm-hmm.
go. And I told the guys that they were cool and understand, like, hey, I can't do it, but I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this mission down, and the power of writing down a powerful intention after you meditate on it, the how will figure itself out. And this sounds a little out there, but it's exactly from my studies and from my experience in the world, the how will work itself out with a really powerful intention and your willingness to walk down that pathway. And
Mm-hmm.
so I taught myself how to DJ, started getting involved, you know, and now I can say like that vision is fully, it's activated and it's
Yeah.
living. But in 2011, like I wasn't even DJing yet, you know, like that was, so it's
Yeah,
like,
if you would have gotten bogged down in the details of the how, it
yeah.
would have felt like a
Oh,
world
how
away.
am I going to do that? What does that even mean? Like, so I trusted that practice of just like writing it down. Luckily, I had great community in Chicago that was really practicing different laws of attraction and the
Mm-hmm.
studies of that. And community's big part, you know, when you're on this journey. Like, who are you listening to? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. Like,
Yes.
what books are you reading? Who are the authors? What have they actually done? Like, these are powerful things. You know, who are you surrounding yourself with?
Mm-hmm.
So I look back and I was like, wow, I was really fortunate to be around so many amazing people and this and that. So, yeah.
Do you feel like that started to happen as a result of your own changes that you were making? I mean, because the tool of community and what you're saying and what we're consuming, the music and also what's normalized in our social circles ultimately defines our reality and what we believe is possible for ourselves.
You know, this journey like is a never, like I love like just looking back at my own,
Mm-hmm.
like if you had to re-engineer your,
Yeah.
it's really cool to study your own history.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of these teachers when I was in India, he said like you need to read your own book. That's the best book you'll ever read, right?
Yes.
And the more you look at your own story and see how things synchronistically connect, there's so much wisdom in your own story because
Mm-hmm.
it's your path, right? You've uncovered certain things and it's not like you figured it all out, but you're figuring things out. And the more you look back, you can give gratitude for certain moments, but you
Mm-hmm.
can also learn of like, oh my God, I did that. Oh wow, like I said yes to this and this. So it's really cool to like look back. And I shared this in some of my workshops. Like there was a metaphysical bookstore that was one of my clients in Chicago. I was selling copier machines door to door for 1 year in Chicago. You know, those big, like, multi,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's an outside sales job. I learned so much. Would I do it
Ooh.
again? No, probably not. But I learned a lot, you know. Anyways, this bookstore it wasn't like your typical bookstore. It was like Deepak Chopra books, and The Secret was out back then, and, you know, books on chakra systems and crystals. And it wasn't like your regular Barnes
Mm-hmm.
and Noble's bookstore. But I went there and I found a binaural beats CD. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
meditation CD. Because The Secret was really popular then, the studies of the law of attraction have been going on for like hundreds of years, but that book really popularized that
It
idea.
did.
And I found that book and I started thinking, I was like, whoa, I can maybe change my world, you know?
Yeah.
And I believed it. So I found this CD about reprogramming your subconscious. And this is 2006, but I started meditating because of this CD
Wow.
all the time, like every day. I was still a bro that was ready to party, you know, back like all the time. I was living in Chicago. I was playing in a rock band. I played bass. Then I went to the corporate job. It was a lot of hedonistic behavior. It was awesome. You know, it was like mid-20s, like, come on. Like, but it was also dark.
Yeah.
It was also unfulfilling, you know. Would I've changed it? No, because I was on my path. Like I had to go through those dark alleys to realize what light I was actually looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But that reprogramming of the subconscious, I feel, started attracting all these
Different
things,
people and opportunities.
people, my wife now, a girlfriend, then I met her in Chicago, but I just started thinking differently. And that's the big part, is your mind is the connection between, your soul and the body. And like, it's so powerful what you think
It
and
is.
how you think, and becoming aware of that. So this side became like a study of the self and what I was doing.
It's so fascinating because I've heard so many. I mean, we're up, this is going to be episode maybe like 230 almost. And so many people who have built incredible things and done really interesting things have said the exact same thing. And at a certain moment, it's like, I believe it, right? And I'm living it as well. But there's still these moments where we get in a mood and emotion and we start to doubt it. And I would ask you, did you ever doubt your music path? I mean, was there a moment ever where you said, that's it, I'm throwing it, like, no more of this, I can't do it? Or was it
Yeah.
rather smooth sailing for you?
No, every journey, there's smooth sailing, and then there's storms, and then there's
Yeah.
doubt, which direction. I'm not sure, lost the compass. For me, it took years to realize that this was actually going to be a career path. And I can say that confidently because from 2011 to 14, I was doing a lot of different things. It wasn't like I wasn't producing music. I was DJing. Like, it didn't pay like crazy money to like just be like, oh, I'm going to raise a family with this, like,
Yeah.
and the finances part is a very important conversation, because as you go into, follow your bliss, yeah, absolutely. And you have to understand business and marketing and
Hmm.
all that fun stuff that's there. And you have to really love it, or you get a team that loves it or whatever it is. I didn't have all that back then, so for me, I was questioning, like, what am I doing DJing at yoga studios? Like, is this real? Like, am I just being laughed at? Like, these were just thoughts, but I still did it. But I definitely wasn't sure that that would be a career path. And it's very common when you're going down a road that you're kind of creating. And for me in Chicago, it was absolutely a road that I was just creating on my own, because I didn't have someone showing me the way. Like, here's a blueprint of becoming a yoga DJ. There was nothing, even now,
Mm-mm.
there really isn't
Mm-mm.
something like that. And it's not a career path most people take. It's very few folks that are out there doing that full on raising family, and that's their main thing. Um, and it takes a lot of trust. You have to see those doubts that are coming up and not just forget them. You have to see them for why they're coming up. So I started studying the doubts, and just like, not that I just would dwell in it, but you look at, like, why am I getting those emotions? Because your body's giving you messages all the time.
Yes. Okay, that's a key distinction. I
Yeah.
like that. It's not just like ignorance is bliss, push down the doubts,
Yeah.
positive vibes only. It's actually like, well, let's look at the
No.
doubts for what they are and
Yes.
understand what they're trying to signal to us about what we
Hmm.
should do next.
We're all very telepathic. Our
Hmm.
brain we're such energetic beings, right? Having, we're spirits having this, or soul having this human experience. And because we're such powerful beings having this human experience, that is a muscle that we are all learning to flex and understand and train,
Yeah.
is our telepathic abilities, learning to listen, our thoughts, what's coming up. And oh my God, like, the whole idea of we only use 10% of our brain, you know, that to me is like, wow, I have so much to learn.
Hmm.
So whatever is coming up, it's not like I believe all those thoughts, but if it's something that's coming up, it's important to just, pause and like take account of, like, what is it that's coming up over and over? What is this doubt? Because you may have a chief goal, like a chief aim of like what you really want in your life, but there are a lot of negative things, beliefs that are rooted in our subconscious that we don't even aware of. It's like, imagine your subconscious is like this garden, and there are bad seeds in there from childhood, from things that we picked up, from television maybe, or our family, or that uncle that said it won't be that something that works.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, everything's like seeds, and especially when we're young, we're like this fertile soil of like imagination, and we're kids are, you're more in that alpha state. You're not as
Hmm.
busy thinking about bills or whatever when you're younger, so you believe certain things about life.
Yeah.
And so those are things we have to reprogram.
Yep.
But if you don't know that there's a bad seed, you don't even know that it's there, causing you to attract that same silly situation or that same relationship or work situation that's not good. So it's actually a gift when these things come up, so we can pause and see, and it's taking a flashlight and looking at, you know, what needs to be potentially moved around
Mm-hmm.
and taken out, or new seeds to go in. That's
Yeah.
the idea. Is like what can, how can we contract, and then we can create a new vision for what we actually do want rather than what we don't want.
And I think a lot of that comes from presence and the ability of the
Hmm.
awareness, the ability to step back and see it. And you've spoken a couple of times about the difference between, okay, beta versus alpha brain
Hmm.
waves. And so I'd love if you could explain to listeners who maybe aren't so familiar with that concept how it allows you to, yeah, not only see your life, but also get a little bit more creative, because there's a lot of people these days who are wanting to and they're craving getting in touch with their creative nature.
Yeah. There was a book that I read in 2009, and I did a whole course on this. It
Mm-hmm.
was called The Artist's Way by
Mm-hmm.
Julia Cameron.
So good.
And that book was like, I was still in the corporate world, and like I had a community in Chicago, but it was like, hey, let's, I'll do this 4-month course
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And it was about getting in touch with your artistic, creative self again. Just whatever it is, something maybe you were passionate about when you were young or in high school or
Mm-hmm.
college or whatever. And so there's courses like that out there. So you really have to pause and be like, what do I actually want? What did I love when I was young? Sometimes we get so consumed in the world of form and bills and this and that and just all the things we have to do. People forget where you come from, or like what you enjoyed and what actually made you happy or
Yeah.
excited, like it's like that moment when you're like tired and but you get this message of like something you really love doing, and you're like, all of a sudden, there's that
So much
energy.
energy
You're like,
out of
where did that
nowhere.
come from? Like, what's that all
Or
about,
you put on a good song
or you
and
put on a good
suddenly you
song,
have
like,
all the
I feel
energy.
yes. So it's like taking moments to do things like that and seeing what you actually enjoy doing, and then taking a small step of maybe doing something about that. So
Yeah.
it's like having the awareness is great, but then what's one step you can do? Like maybe you could go to something, maybe you
Hmm.
could even just watch a video on, but action steps are important,
Hmm.
or saying yes to like some sort of a something, and so
Hmm.
that book kind of opened me back up to getting in touch with. So I started playing hand percussion from that book. It was really interesting. I took classes though, like I took um, Old Town School of Music, is this place in Chicago, and I took these like Middle Eastern and Arabic rhythms class with this like little Arabic hand drum but that like got me into that vibe of like learning
Hmm.
something new. I still play that in my albums and stuff now, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'll play it live. But I didn't really play hand percussion back then. Like I was just like saying yes to something about getting back in touch with your creative energy.
So I'll ask you an additional question
Yeah,
here that I think is really relevant to yoga teachers and
yeah.
to anybody who's trying to create something, even those of us creating on social media. What I like about what you've done is that when you're creating tracks and you're creating songs, you are taking all those different elements and inspirations and you're putting it together in a package.
Hmm.
There's an infinite number of things you could have put into
Yeah.
that song, but you're decisive and you make a choice and you create something that kind of stands on its own 2 feet. And I would ask you about your creative process. I mean, how do you choose? Do you have certain rituals that kind of get you into that state? Does that make sense,
I wear this like red robe. No, I'm
Yeah.
just
I
kidding.
mean, any tips you can give us.
Yeah, I think intentionality is very important. If that's the word, is intentionality.
Intentionality. What does
Yeah.
that really mean
So
though?
for me, as a wellness music creator, I know, usually going in, I know exactly what I'm going to do now.
Okay.
But I'll be like, I'm going to create a track for Shavasana. Like
Yeah.
I know in my mind where that song, before I even create
So you know
it,
the purpose of it.
I know the purpose of it. I know where it could go in the playlist
Mm.
in that teacher's thing. So it's like this is going to be song 2 when they're doing cat cow, and it's going to be at 65 BPM because that works great with the movement, breath, and beat connection. So I think like that almost always. Sometimes we're just making songs, with different collaborations and they end up in different places, but I'm usually like very focused on how it's going to be. It's functional music is the
Mm-hmm.
word. And functional music is like where will this song live? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times in my collaborations, I'll be like, what is the audience for this song? Is it going to be used for a yoga class? Is it going to be used for a breathwork experience? What's the BPM? How will the teacher connect with that with the breath? Will it be like an opening track? So I teach a workshop around this called My Best Playlist. Maybe you're not familiar with, but
I've seen it.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. So like that teaches teachers, or I try to teach them what I do when I'm scoring the music to different yoga videos. I've done like over 1,000 of them for different brands and stuff like that.
When you say scoring it, is that like you're literally just ranking how it would fit, or what
Oh
does
no,
that mean?
okay, I'm sorry. So scoring it, imagine like Hans Zimmer. He's writing the score, the composer. He's writing the
Yeah.
score of like a movie.
Ah.
So when I say I'm scoring it, meaning like I'm laying down the music for this class.
Okay.
So a
Okay.
lot of times in yoga classes, they'll create a teacher will make the class, without any music, and then somebody else will go in and add the music. So you can randomly add music, but if you really understand the flow, the ups and downs of energy, the breath, the BPM, you can make it epic. So with the brands, like there's a brand called Wanderlust, maybe you've heard of them.
Yes.
I've done over probably 400 yoga videos that I did the music
Wow.
for with my music and a lot of other artists' music, and it was an amazing experience. I feel like I transformed from you do something over and over, it like lives you, what you become that in a way.
Yeah, you become super
You
fluent
become
in it.
super, yeah. So like I have my own app that I did like over 200 videos of that. It's easy for me because I get that, I know where the flow is going to
It's become
go.
second nature for you.
Absolutely. So yeah, so intentionality is very important as an artist. You get more done. I probably have 12 to 1400 songs out there, you
Wow.
know.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah, and I release a song like every week, and
Wow.
there's more coming all the
Do you keep
time.
that consistent on purpose, or is
I
it just
started
fun
in
for you?
2020, to release one song a week, and sometimes it's like an EP, but it doesn't matter which week it is. If I'm feeling happy or sad, it's a practice. It's like that's part of my ritual, and
Yeah.
like it's like in certain creative terms, it's like you do your creative work and then you ship it, meaning you get it out to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not crazy active on like social media or just like, so my thing is music. So like I release one song a week, and whether it's going to be a hit or not, I don't
Are
know.
you like
And
sometimes procrastinating it, or it's always it just
it's you just have to do it. Like
Okay.
so like it becomes it's a very it's an operational thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's a lot that goes on in releasing music. You have to design the album cover, you have to finalize the song A to Z,
Yep.
but that becomes second nature, and you get really good at that process. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I just did like 400 songs this year, and whether that's all by yourself or with collaboration, it's still communication, work, organization, but that system you create for yourself. And this is in any creative endeavor. Maybe someone that writes books. It's like, how did this guy write 25 books in 6 years or whatever?
Yep.
Like maybe they're working with another author. So this is across the board, any kind of creative thing is that it's not done until it's finished, right? And you have to be that person that the better you get at it, like knowing like, okay, it's done. There's folks that are like, it's not perfect. That's actually stopping you. That can stop you from releasing. This idea of perfection
Yeah.
is a big, like it can crush dreams
I
and
know it.
and things,
Yeah.
and this goes through a lot of people. And then the better you are, you're like, it's done. Like when you go number two, you're like, I'm done.
It's
It's
done.
it's
It's
you
time to
get
get
off the
out.
pot. It's like, so when the sun, it's done. You can keep sitting there and scrolling, and maybe no, you can keep working on things, but you have to be able to say it's done. You get it, you finalize it, and then you ship it out to the world to enjoy.
So I'm hearing there's the intention, knowing why you're making the thing and
Yeah.
what it's for. And then it's also the consistency of, and using that to kind of combat our perfectionist tendencies. I super relate to that. I mean, that's what I did with the podcast, once a week. No
Yes.
exceptions, once
Yeah.
a week. Sad, doesn't matter. Almost losing my voice, too bad. We're still going to show up. And yeah, having that sort of constraint on it and that purpose around, not a constraint, but what is the theme? Because I can write like the wind. I can write on any subject.
Mm,
You give me a subject, I will write. And
mm.
it was too broad, you know? And so giving myself the focus of
Yeah,
yoga, and I love yoga, you know, but I am a lot, I'm a multi-passionate individual, just like
yeah,
everybody else. But giving myself the focus of yoga was really helpful. That's when I started to gain some traction in terms of my work being seen and stuff, is because it had a focus.
focus,
And
absolutely.
that was what I was missing before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in any field, any creative endeavor, I
Hmm.
personally feel like the more you can focus, you can find out, what you really want to
Yeah.
create for, and going in there, um, you'll find more joy because you become a specialist
Hmm.
in that niche or in that audience that you're writing for. And I didn't plan to be involved in just the wellness world. Like in 2012, or 2011 when I left the corporate world, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be a yoga DJ in the wellness scene. Like that didn't even come to my mind. So it kind of found me and invited me in. But then I said a big yes, and that's who I'm really serving right now. And
Hmm.
of course, there's other people who are not teachers or just enjoying, but always have like some sort of a focus,
Yeah.
and then that can evolve. That's the beauty. It's like we
And
evolve. We're always evolving as human beings,
mhm.
and so your focus can evolve as well. You branch off, something new happens.
Yeah. So speaking of the breath and of
Mhm.
meditation and of the yoga classes, high level, what have you really learned to be true about yoga and music and their relation?
Yeah. So around yoga and music, what I've seen over the past decade is that there's really not a lot of education around um, yoga teacher training and how to use music. So a lot of teachers out there are just doing random things, just trying stuff out. And it's not their fault. They just haven't been shown yet. So around yoga and music, I created this course called My Best Playlist probably around 2015. Started teaching at places like Yoga Alliance, Yoga Journal, Wanderlust, and a lot of festivals. And now I'm helping like different yoga teacher training
Hmm.
programs. But what I saw, if the teachers had the education like I do as a DJ and a music producer, their practice would evolve to a level where it would be like a super class. So it won't just be that their sequencing might be amazing, but if their music muscle was stronger, where they really understood beats per minute, connection with the beat of the music to the beat of the breath,
Hmm.
intentionality, how to like create really dynamic playlists, their practices would just evolve and become so much more powerful. And that not only would help the class, but it's going to actually evolve the practice of the yogi in the class, the student. So the students will start breathing and moving differently with the music. Like I can go to any class out there, even if the teacher's not cueing on the beat of the music, or I breathe with I breathe in my own way with the music, and it's amazing because I just feel one with it. So
Hmm.
if you're going to choose to use music, you might as well learn how to use it really well, and it's not just something in the background. So to answer your, I don't know if that hits
Hmm.
where you were going with your question, but I would say education and like learning and really understanding music for a teacher is very important to use it wisely. There are teachers out there that have amazing playlists that understand that. Sometimes teachers have like dance backgrounds
Hmm.
or they have like some sort of rhythmic kind of understanding, and then people vibe with their energy more, or they're more connected. It doesn't feel disjointed. So it can either be a big distraction or it can really support.
Yeah, it can be a massive distraction. How do you
Hmm.
feel like teachers can sort of self-evaluate their playlists and their music? What makes the difference between transformational feeling music in class that just
Hmm.
hits and it goes really easily and something that feels like uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's I haven't really studied what teachers are doing per se as
Yeah.
deeply, but from what I've experienced, that's just from attending. A lot of times, like using lyrics in places that shouldn't be there, or like they're teaching, like they're there's a lot of instruction sequencing, and then there's a lot of lyrics. It's just
It's heavy.
it's heavy, and it conflicts energetically because
Mhm.
you're trying to like listen, and so understanding when and how to use lyrics or just no lyrics. I definitely use lyrics in my in my classes when I'm DJing, but I'm also selective, and I'm also creating music that is not super lyric heavy as well. But that's one aspect of it. Also, just having a strong intention on what the class will be. A lot of times, teachers will just teach a class, and it's fine. But if you can create a class around a certain intention, and then really study the music. So the more you know your music, the more you have a relationship with a certain song that's gonna like be part of a certain sequence. It feels like it's a lot, but what happens is that you'll just get better and better at it, where you can do it faster and faster.
Yeah.
A lot of time teachers hear this, they're like, that sounds like a lot of work. It may be in the beginning, just like anything. Like I can make a playlist for a yoga class in like 5 minutes. And it sounds sometimes maybe even faster, but I have these understandings and these like organization system that I teach that others can do it as well.
What would you say to the people who say no music during yoga class, like the Ashtangis, silent class? What is your opinion about that?
I would say enjoy. Seriously, it's again, this is not a way to say that you have to have music or not. I'm absolutely never in a place of conversion of anyone's
Yeah,
mentality.
yeah.
I've definitely practiced yoga classes with no music, and it's super powerful.
Hmm.
You're just listening to your breath. It's sometimes even more difficult as well,
I
and usually
agree.
more
It
difficult.
is.
Um,
Yeah.
I I am talking to the audience that loves music and that want to
Hmm.
grow that in their practice more mindfully and more meaningfully with more intention, and I want to help them.
Hmm.
So I'm not ever saying to anyone that you have to have it, because you absolutely don't. Like the old school yogis did
Yeah.
not have that, but they didn't have that technology either. Maybe they would have loved beats in their class. Who knows?
That
You
would be
know?
so fascinating. I would love to see what their perception of it would be.
So, absolutely. And those yogis, I don't know exactly who, but like they were renegades of their society, meaning they were doing certain things that and teaching their students certain things that like maybe the higher ups maybe don't want that.
Hmm.
They were teaching certain technologies, this and that. So they were definitely, off the beaten path,
Hmm.
creating new ways and having students and teaching them about their mind and how powerful they are. Maybe the elites didn't want that. I don't know, but like if someone's like saying, "Hey, you shouldn't have music in your class," that's their opinion, but
Hmm.
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, don't
I
be
could
afraid to be a rebel either way.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I want us to talk about your experience at festivals
Mm,
because I think that events in general are a big fascination for people. And I'm always specifically interested in the crowd and sort of reading the room, right? It's in a way, I relate it to how it feels when you start to teach a class. It's like public speaking and reading the room and being able to raise people's energy
yeah.
if they're low and if they're out of control. It's like, well, maybe then we smooth it out. But yeah, talk to us a little bit about your experience at festivals,
Yeah.
sort of hyping the crowd or just playing up the crowd's energy in different ways.
Yeah, that's great. I love festivals, first of all. That's a great place for communities just to gather, be in a place of wellness and mindfulness. And yeah, I never make a playlist ahead of time, at the
Okay.
festivals, like especially yoga. And I may have like an opening, like a grounded track in mind that I'm going to start with, but I never, because I don't know, like you said, what the audience is going to be like, who's going to show up, what the teacher's energy usually, I like that's the fun part of what I do in the moment is that's actually a superpower in that sense. It's like anybody can go up and play some music, you can especially as a DJ, but one of my superpowers I would say is knowing where the classes may be going, anticipation, and taking that journey on because I don't make any playlists ahead of time. It's fun to just really be present in that moment with that class, with that teacher, with myself, and how I'm feeling, and and that joy can be like translated in that moment, and the students feel that, and you want to elevate them. Like I want them. That's part of my mission. You want them to walk out,
Yeah.
differently and more expanded, and maybe a little bit more blissful, a little bit more joy in their heart. Maybe they healed a little bit. We don't know. Like in a festival, there might be a class of 200 people. There could be people that are sad about something, happy about something, going through something crazy. But if you can get them from feeling like a 4 to a 6, even, or a 4 to a 10 would be amazing. But whatever it is, wherever, if they can feel a little bit better, awesome, good. Like,
Yeah.
on to the next experience. And so I do that. And even dance experiences and stuff, like sometimes I'll create a little playlist or an idea, but usually at yoga festivals, it's not so much of a performance for me. It's
Yeah.
more about what that audience needs. Because yoga festivals are a little bit different from regular music festivals. Even for like, if I had a DJ dance set, I cannot make a playlist ahead of time and just do that, because there's something for me a little bit more personal with that audience, because it's such a wide range of people. There's 20-year-olds to like 70-year-olds usually in that audience,
Yep.
all different backgrounds. So it's not like it's a wedding party where I'm playing just whatever top
Do you do
40.
weddings too?
I usually don't, but I'm doing one this year
Oh my gosh,
actually.
fun.
It's the lady that she met me at a yoga festival, and she's getting married in August, and
That's
she reached
amazing.
out. Those are different sets,
Yeah,
obviously,
it's very
music
different.
wise. But back to a yoga festival, it's always like that's where the fun opportunity / challenge comes in, to like, how can you really make them have a good time rather than what I need to play as an artist.
Yeah.
So I've gone away from that. Sometimes like I may have a whole idea of like I want to do and then like the energy did not allow me. Like, you have to pay attention. I would say it's a very different set that when I play a DJ set at a yoga festival versus like a music festival.
Hmm.
You could have like a set planned out, like this is what I'm doing, but to not have that and be in the moment is also, it's fun.
Well, I wish every yoga class could have a personalized DJ. I would love to teach with that experience
Yeah.
because I, for one, cannot. One of my biggest anxieties in teaching is if I can't touch where the music, like if I'm teaching yoga in the park and I have to hit play on the playlist and then I can't go back there, I can't turn it up or down, I can't skip. That is really hard for me because I realize that I feel like class has such peaks and
Yeah.
valleys, and I'm not at the point yet where all of my peaks and valleys
Yeah.
always match with exactly the timing that I had put it in the playlist. So
Have you ever used an Apple Watch?
no.
So that's one thing you could
Oh,
play
that's a good
around with, because
idea. Yeah.
you can see your playlist on your Apple Watch. You can turn the volume up and down
I've
through your
never thought
watch.
about
Yeah,
this.
check that out.
Hmm.
I'm not like a master at that, but I know you can control. You can go to the next song, for example. You can turn the volume down so it's not a hard shift.
Yeah.
So that's something like
Exactly. Yeah.
something you could play around with. That's a step,
Mm.
and then just play around with it. And you just literally have to look at it,
Yeah.
and it connects with your, phone.
What about and I'm interested too in the collaborations that you've done in the music world. How
Okay.
has that been for you, that experience,
Yeah,
collaborating with other artists?
the idea of collaboration across the board in any kind of creative endeavor is a very powerful thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're getting started and you're not some like hot shot, or you're like
Mm-hmm.
think you know everything. You don't know everything at all. You may not know anything, you're just starting.
Yeah.
So pay attention to who's already surrounding you, who's supporting you maybe. For me, like, I'm the individual that never just like hits people up and let's like, or like, get me into your festival, or like let me play. I'm always like more, I'm just like open to the invitation,
Yeah.
or like when opportunity comes up or I meet somebody like, hey, let's collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
But pay attention to what's happening, because I will say in the beginning, because of certain producers I worked with and that were like friends, or we were put together by by a group, I grew because of that. Like maybe my strength was like marketing the song because I was in front of audiences, but I wasn't a great producer yet. I was working with someone who was a great producer. So like
Yeah.
there's different artists like this that I work, and I still work with lots of artists, because you can do more when you come together, and that's how you can also produce a lot more works of art when you're doing collaborations. You just have to figure out the financial part, how that all works out. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually very simple, but you have to have a system.
I've just always wondered because, of course, I've done collaborations in terms of like the podcasts and
Yeah.
stuff, but in hosting retreats with people. But I always wonder about the creation of a song and how much back and forth there is, different opinions.
It can be how you want to create it. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of like music creation, is that it can be as complicated as a process. And I'm I've experienced all different kinds. For me, it's about keeping it easy.
Hmm.
That's why it's great to collaborate with a lot of people because then you realize who you want to actually collaborate
Yeah.
with. So I always love when people reach out, like I'll try, and sometimes it'll be like, oh my gosh, like this person's doing amazing. And
Hmm.
sometimes a lot of producers reach out to me who may not have been doing it for a long time. They're very young, they're very hungry, and they may be doing a lot more of the work than I am. But I may be doing certain parts of it
Hmm.
that they're taking and they're remixing it. So it's like, and I did that when I was younger. I'd work with certain artists, and so you have to see what kind of collaborative energy you want to be part of, how much energy you want to put into it.
Hmm.
This is all self-reflection, and then when you have a solid understanding, you need to, or not, you need to, like, I think it's smart to be able to speak that to your collaborator, being like, so I can tell sometimes, like, hey, look, I'm not going to do a lot of the work. You will. But they're okay with that because that's part of the deal. But maybe
Hmm.
I'll be promoting it to my audience more because I have a
Hmm.
larger audience. Maybe I'll do a lot of the initial work and then they'll finish it up. So you can set it up any way you want, but clarity and communication is the most important thing. So there's no weird feelings later, like, hey, I did all that work. Why are we doing 50? Like,
Yeah.
always have clarity from the beginning. Hey, like, this is how it's going to be. Are you okay with that? This is how we do splits. This is how we release. This is how we're going to do marketing. And those things will evolve. But the more you can
Hmm.
have clarity on yourself of like what will make it a fulfilling experience, and then you get confident in that experience, and then, or confident in that offering and partnership, or and then you can share that with them right away. Like,
Hmm.
this is how I work. If you're cool with it, let's rock and roll. And if they're not cool with it, you can always entertain what they want as well. And you
Hmm.
can be flexible as well. But if it's something that doesn't feel right, you have to understand that and move away.
Who or what would you say most inspires you to keep going right now with your
Mm,
creation of music?
I mean, creation of music or just the work in general. So I have a family, wife, two kids. I I know that they're a big part of that
Hmm.
because even before they were in the picture, like the kids were in the picture, I was creating music, but now I feel like I'm creating even more. It's really weird
Interesting.
to think
Yeah.
about. Yeah, so it's like my focus has really gotten clear around what I need to do. So the family, when you have I don't, do you have any kids or no?
No.
Okay, so now you,
But it's good to know because everybody's always like, once you have kids, how are
that
you
is
gonna
a
podcast?
that is not a true statement in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
So
agree with you,
your
but I
life
don't
is,
know.
it's life by design. So it's all about focus and how you want to do things
Yeah.
and what your support structures are. So as you earn more abundance in the world, it's not, in my opinion, it's not about just keeping it. It's about how you, what is a life experience you want to have. It's not about things. I don't live for certain material things. It's about the experiences we get to have in
Yeah.
the world. So for me, having a family, you have to have support, whether it's a nanny or some sort of care structure or school. These things all um, become part of your plan, and you have to earn to support certain things,
Hmm.
because everything is abundance and flowing and energy. And so for me, it's about how do we create this lifestyle so I myself and my family can live a happy life, really, and
Hmm.
they have what they need. And then you figure out the kind of projects you need to take on. Like, in my mind, whether this is true or not, like every song I write, in my mind I have this idea that I'm going to make at least $500 from this song
Oh,
in the
really?
lifetime of the song. Usually probably will be more than that, but in my
Yeah.
mind I'm like, every song, it's just an idea,
Yeah.
but it's like nothing is like a waste.
Yeah.
That's if for any kind of creative work. So for anybody, it could be like a podcast or what. Hey, it's gonna accrue this many followers or this whatever it is. So in my mind, I'm like,
Yeah.
every song $500.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe it'll take 30 years for some songs that are not good, but like it's like there's no idea of a waste
Yeah.
out there because it's what you do with it. Like, your creative portfolio is like your real estate portfolio.
Mm.
It could actually bring you fruits to your abundance for like lifetimes. And if
Forever.
you pass it on to your kids, so everything that I'm creating will be passed on or can be passed on
Wow.
through your estate after you are long gone.
Yeah.
You have the power to do that because
Wow.
it's actually creative um,
Yeah,
creative
it's material,
works. It's
creative material.
material. And so so I'm creating for them, I'm creating for myself, I'm creating for the audience. The community keeps me going. That's another big part, because I have a newsletter that I share every week, and I send that out every week. So people are looking forward to it. Maybe they're not. Maybe it just ends up in their, but that's the community is a big part, because they are taking in the information. I'm not just creating for whoever, like I'm creating for them. I'm not just creating for myself. I know, like Rick Rubin, I think in his book, I create for myself, and then that can be true for him, but for me, it's very different. I'm actually creating for a specific audience.
I would say I am too.
Yeah,
In a lot of
exactly.
ways.
So like, there's
Yeah.
people have different perspectives,
Yeah.
and so like I'm really trying to support a group of people, and I'm not as crazy about, like, for a while I was like, it has to be a certain way, maybe, but now I'm very like relaxed about it. It's, my audience knows that I'm creating a lot of different styles of genres, and if they don't like something, maybe next week it'll be something totally different.
Yeah.
So I'm not as worried, let's just say.
If people are listening to this right now and they're feeling fired up to either pursue that creative endeavor, or it's maybe just about teaching for them, it's just about starting to think of themselves more as the artist, because I love this concept of the artist. I mean, you're embodying that and you're creating all of this creative material like you've just described it. But what would you say is just one little piece of advice, or one little takeaway, even a little homework if you want, for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for anyone that's listening, really like take a pause at some point and just reflect on what it is that you really want to share with the world, like what really excites you. Maybe it's teaching, maybe it's being an artist, musician, whatever it may be. Just connect with that and then write it down, like on a piece of paper. Like, don't even type it, like write it down with a pen on a white piece of paper. And what does that look like? And then what is one action step you can take towards something towards that? Like, so if it's, if you're a musician, like, can you connect with another musician, or can you go to a concert? Like, what is this action steps? Because you can meditate on it and think about it, but you could also take small actions towards something, and that starts like a cycle. So it's not enough just to think about it, in my opinion. Like, you can meditate and really get aligned. And that's actually the first thing you really have to do, is that alignment, but then some sort of a step.
Yeah.
Even if it's like looking up something on YouTube and watching the video on it, or doing a master class, what is something you can actually do and practice?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a teacher, maybe you go teach a free class in a park to your friends, but that's an action step. It's very powerful.
And as soon as you can with that action step, or it's okay to plan it out for the next month, or...
I think sometimes it's like, it's some sort of a step like that you can take right away.
Right away.
What can
Today.
you do? What can you do today? Seriously.
Yeah.
And then you can do the planning of the month, but what is one thing you could do?
Yeah, because there's always a
today?
tiny step. There's always that initial...
Yeah, I just heard somewhere the other day where it says, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It sounds like it's the idea of like this big idea, like, oh, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
But how do you do it? You do it one, or how do you build this wall or behind us, one brick at a time?
Yeah.
What is one step that's like right there? And so a lot of times people don't get started because they're looking at that giant castle. They're like, I can't build this.
How could I ever?
How can I build this castle? No way. Or, so it's like, well, can you lay down one brick today? Oh yeah, it's easy. Let's do that. And then come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you create a plan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's inspiring. Yeah, and it's reminding me too of this idea of never leaving the sight of a goal without taking that first little step, because otherwise you get yourself all hyped up. You've got like that dopamine of the idea and the power to do it, and then you don't use it. You kind of train yourself that you don't take action, and that's
and
not
that
really
energy,
true.
that dopamine is a gift. Like that's not always happening.
Yeah.
So when that does happen, really try to capture the essence and energy
Yes.
of that gift in that moment, because there's so much that can happen. This goes with creative people who are writing music.
Yeah.
Stop things if you can, and go write that song, or go write that song, or paint that picture, or plan out that podcast script, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, because the universe is like gifting us certain things. You're like, oh, that's so great, I'll do it next week, and then next week comes, you're like, I'm not as excited about it today,
Yeah.
and that happens a lot of times.
So often.
Yeah,
So often. Well, I'm feeling like energized to take some action right now. I gotta stand up.
absolutely.
But we're near the end of the
Yeah.
episode. Couple of rapid fire questions,
Okay.
and then we'll wrap it up. But what is your hope for the future of the yoga world?
Mm. My hope for the yoga world is that we don't forget the actual practices, and that's not just asana, a lot of the other deeper practices. So the individual's practice can go way deeper than just asana. In the West, a lot of it is just movement. A
Yeah.
lot of people think of yoga as that, but there's so much more, all the different limbs. So how can it really be transformative
Mm-hmm.
so people can live a more aware life?
Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what are qualities of an exceptional leader?
Mm. For an exceptional leader, knowing how to be flexible, knowing how to listen,
Mm-hmm.
not only to their employees, but also to the audience that they're serving.
Yeah.
And just practicing empathy.
Yeah.
There's more, but I think like right away, like flexibility is big.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware of ego, of like, it has
Mm-hmm.
to be my way, like that's huge. So,
Yeah. And then if you had a billboard that was going to be seen by everybody in the world, so ultimate platform, what would you put on that billboard? It could be a quote, something you live by, an image. It could be whatever you want.
yeah, there's so many amazing quotes and ideas. But I would say for me, what I would put on the billboard is like the quote, "Know thyself." Like study yourself, and the master self-awareness.
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah, so know thyself and master self-awareness.
Know thyself and master self-awareness.
Yeah.
And listen to good music.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Taz. This was such a wonderful interview and so exciting in so many different ways. But let folks know where they can find you and where they can continue to learn from you
Sure.
and listen to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my music's on all different platforms. If you can just follow me under DJ Taz Rashid. My website is djtazrashid.com. And I would say just, follow me on places like Instagram. And if go to my website, my newsletter, like I said, I share that once a week. So I'm sharing playlists and different things and where I'm going to be traveling to. And I am definitely traveling still quite a bit. And I'll be bringing my family along more, coming up this year and onward. So I love live events, as much as I'm home producing music, I love getting out there. So hopefully people can make it out to an event or two at a festival or a retreat, and we can do all the stuff we've been talking about live.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And I love meeting people on the road and hearing about their journeys. And yeah.
So fun. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, welcome to Seattle.
Thank
glad
you.
you're
Thank
here.
you for having me. This is
Yeah.
great. Really cool.
Yeah. And if you're listening, thanks for making it all the way to the end of the episode. We will catch you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank
Thank you so much.